getting them.
YouTube time, we do the YouTube video for subscriber and Throneandliberty viewer. Hello, gamer. Hello, 40-year-old man, because statistically, those are the people that watch these videos. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and call your son or daughter or nephew or granddad. Or I don't know, fucking whatever. Call someone you related to.
Tell them to like and subscribe. Yeah, anyways, we're going to be reacting to the Throne and Liberty, the delay and the monetization with the investor call.
First, you asked about the timeline, the release timeline for TL, and has been a recent press coverage on this topic as well. At this point, we are conducting discussions to come up with the best strategic approach in terms of timing as well as the partner that we will cooperate with in bringing TL to the global market. The reason why we are highly focused on this aspect is because TL itself is a very important and critical title, and that taking this domestic game MMORPG capabilities successfully to the global market is going to have a significant implication for the company. So rather than utilizing our past conventional approaches under that open innovation that we communicated in numerous times over other quarters, we would think very hard about ways to actually cooperate and bring out synergies by fully leveraging all the elements that we could leverage both internally and with the outside partners. So that's why we are very deeply thinking about the best strategic direction forward. And based upon those discussions and decisions on the strategy, we are at this point targeting for first half of 2023 for TL release.
That was a minute and a half for her to say, we're delaying the game because we don't want to fuck up the global release. We don't want to fuck up the global release because we put a lot of money into this, and we cannot afford to fumble the bag this late in the game. She took 90 seconds to say that. I get what they're saying is like, yeah, we want to make sure we work with exactly the right people on this, and we need to get this right, so we're going to push the release date back a little bit, which is fine. Like, that's not a problem. I assume English isn't her second language, so I cut her as much slack as I possibly can. I just extraordinarily dislike marketing gimmicky speech, but yeah, it's literally just, we don't want to fuck up. The game's coming out later. That's it.
I'm glad that they went their approach of delaying the game if they needed to. They would have been pretty stuffed if they're like, oh
absolutely.
Shit, it's not ready or whatever.
Yeah, there's so many examples of games that released when they weren't ready, and it's such a hard thing to recover from. Yeah. Like Watch Dogs, No Man's Sky, Anthem, what was another? There's countless examples, and like all those games are or at least were dead for a very long time. Yeah, I could see why they don't want to have their game end up like.
Yeah, I'm glad with the conclusion, to delay this, because they're like, it's an MMO, you need as many people as playing
right
currently.
If your launch is bad, everything's fucked.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nico? What's your input here?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty much brought it. Launch, I mean, and maybe they're just trying to take a different approach to it, but I mean, think about it. Like 99% of the games we get, a rough launch. Like the game's almost never complete, like it used to be back in the good old like 360 days when you bought the game, that was a fucking game.
Oh right? Yeah.
And nowadays you get like Anthem, it's like, oh yeah, that's a totally cool game, and then it just turns out to be a complete piece of shit. And they have to do all these updates and updates and updates, and it's still just a piece of shit. And everybody gave up on it very, very fucking quickly. So, like you guys said, I think it's like a job interview. The first impressions is what either makes or breaks the game. Like No Man's Sky is something very unique and something we haven't seen before, and they had a really shitty launch, but they still managed to bring it all back. Granted, it took several years, but they still managed to make it happen.
I would imagine how many more people would be playing No Man's Sky if they had like waited and released it a year later, and it was like as good as it is now on release. Everyone would be talking about it still. It would be like a main game that like gets streamed and people make videos on. It would be like in the cultural focus, but because of how Hello Games fucked up the release, it's not. What I find interesting about this though, and we're gonna get more into this later, is that they're talking about the reason for delaying being the fact that this is going on the global market, but they laid off a bunch of people from their Western, I think it was production staff.
From
So
NC
like,
Southwest.
yeah, NC Softwest. I don't know exactly who those people were, like what role they filled, but we'll get more into that later. But that just kind of strikes me as a little weird that they're delaying it for, you know, marketing and outreach reasons. But they also laid off a shitload of people. So that's a little that just kind of raises a little question mark in my head.
Yes, I will respond about the TL first and the business model that is going to be used. Of course, later on when the time comes, we will be able to provide you with more details regarding how the portfolio of items that we will be offering. But of course, we are going to make sure that we actually really focus on play to win to make sure that we minimize the gap across the users as much as possible. But I would also like to add that there has been changes in the overall global game market regarding the monetization models. Previously, people in North America and Europe, they were very negative and critical about the monetization BMs, but we now see a gradual acceptance of, for instance, battle passes, DLCs, and in-game items, even in these markets. And so these large game studios, since the development period is very long and because development of game titles entails significant level of investment, they also, like NC Soft, by providing the live services, do wish to continuously create the revenue stream, and that has become a very important differentiating factor. So, of course, we will stay away from pay to win as much as possible. However, at the meantime, strike a good balance so that we can bring about a good and robust performance from the game titles.
I called that shit from the moment they were talking about monetization. Even before then, I don't know which video it was because we split it up among a bunch of different videos. But I called that shit. I knew they were gonna bring up battle passes. I knew they were gonna bring up DLCs, microtransactions, in-game, like all that stuff, and how North America and Europe respond to it. That's the monetization path they're gonna go for because they're trying to break into the Western market. I fucking called it. Yeah, it's not a big deal though. They know that pay to win isn't gonna get them very far, but they also know that it can make them a shitload of money, so they're gonna try and have the best of both worlds. It'll work or it won't. We'll see. I mean, they've brought up pay to win a bunch, but they haven't said that they aren't going to. Fact is, with MMOs, pay to win makes a lot of money. It's a very successful business model. You pay for XP boosters, you pay for like loot boosters or whatever. Like you're more likely to have enemies drop rare loot, like all that kind of stuff. That like ESO has that, World of Warcraft has that. That's nothing new for MMOs. I'm hoping that that kind of stuff is kept to a minimum, and the main monetization is like cosmetics.
Mhm.
That is what I hope for this game, just because that's really the best way for a game like this to make money with microtransactions is through cosmetics. Because if it doesn't have an effect on the actual game like mechanics itself, who cares, right?
Like, I don't mind it if the game is free. It's really annoying and extra thrown in there when you
That's a
have to pay
really
for
good point.
when you have to pay for the fucking game, and then you gotta pay for more shit in the game. Granted, you could always say that it's not like it's like XP boosters and it's not directly like pay to win and all that shit, but at the end of the day, like if you pay for the game, you want to enjoy the full shit of the game. Like DLCs and stuff is understandable, but if you have it in the base game, let us play the fucking base game. Don't put it behind the fucking paywall to make the game more enjoyable.
That's a really good point. They haven't mentioned so far how they're going to actually price out the game itself. At least not in this video. They might do that in a future devlog or investor call, whatever they call these.
There was speculation that they're gonna have another investor call
That's good.
this month.
Yeah, all right. Then we can learn some more about about those issues, because really that's what the rest of the monetization comes down to. Because we can infer that they're gonna do a blend of Eastern pay to win, just straight up pay to win, versus like Western weird pseudo subscription, mostly cosmetics, but some. Well, no, it pretty much is like just. Well, it's not just cosmetics because like Apex comes to mind, where you to unlock a new character, realistically, to play the new character in a reasonable amount of time when it gets released, you have to pay money for whatever the premium currency for Apex is. I don't remember right now, but like that kind of thing, where it's not like, yeah, it's not pay to win, but it's pay to access new content in a reasonable time frame. Annoying, but the justification is usually like, oh, well, the game's free, so they have to make money somehow. Like, yeah, but it's still annoying.
Yeah. But see, what made Fortnite so great is that one, the game was free.
Yep.
Two, it was a fuck ton of fun, and
yeah.
all it was skins.
Yep.
There was
it
no
was just skins, just cosmetics.
exactly, and that's what the fun part was, that it was based off of skill. So that's what they need to do, is make these based off of tactics and skills and pay hours, dude. Please reward us for playing your phone.
Yeah, and
make us fucking whip out our credit cards, just change what we get.
yeah, that's
Alright, we're broke motherfuckers. We got bad hobbies. Don't you ain't got money to be spending on shit like this.
right. That's like the one of the nice things about battle passes, or at least Fortnite's and Apex's, is that their battle pass is actually pretty good. Like, it's a pretty solid deal, even if you don't want to give them money. Because this is kind of like one of the concepts of marketing and advertising, but the longer that you can engage somebody, the more likely they are to spend money. So, like, the longer that you play Fortnite, the more likely you are to spend money on it. The more likely you are to buy V-Bucks or pay for the Battle Pass, whatever. Same thing's true for Apex and PUBG, and literally any kind of game where there's a premium currency. The longer you play the game, the more likely you are to spend money.
Same rules can apply to Throne and Liberty here.
Exactly. So it's in Throne and Liberty's best interest. It's in NCSoft's best interest to make this as consumer friendly as possible, because then more people are engaged with their product for longer, which ultimately means more revenue for them. I hope they understand that, because a lot of companies don't, and they just try to milk their consumers for as much money as they can get, and it doesn't often work. We'll see. I hope they're smart. They seem to be smart, so we'll probably be fine. You'll be an honorary member of the Brothas Crib. We're saving our subscribers from divorce, one video at a time.
Can we certify that if any of you if any of you fine gentlemen out there are in that situation, just go ahead and just give us that certified slapstick. 90% of the time, watching the Brothers Crib video will save a man from a divorce. That's a fact.
There you go. There you go.
Brother Neek certified, bro. You ain't gonna find that anywhere else.
You literally won't. That is a one of a kind. The one of a kind deal you got.
You gotta like the video to show your wife that you got Brother Neek certified.
Oh God, I could just imagine some 40-year-old dudes like, honey, look, I liked the YouTube video. Don't leave me.
NC Southwest lays off 20% of the staff and the CEO departs. And yeah, apparently this article was written on February the 2nd. It's February the 4th. They laid off their staff on Wednesday. Jeff Anderson is the CEO and he parted. And they said a statement, we can confirm that we laid off approximately 20% of NC Works workforce today, primarily affecting non-game development, part of a global realignment with our corporate headquarters in Korea. The affected employees have been given severance and access to help with the job place.
Damn, bro, what happened?
So
yeah, that's a good question. What the hell happened? I wonder, right? I have not done any research, because this is the retard part of caffeinated retard. But I wonder if our boy Jeff here wanted to go a different direction with monetization, And the team back in Korea headquarters said, no, Mr. Jeffy boy, you're gonna do what we fucking tell you. And then kind of like pushed him into retirement. The
Yeah, I can see that.
CEOs really don't step down voluntarily very often. It is very, very rare for that kind of thing to happen. So there's definitely some shit going on behind the scenes. But I just like what they said, like they were mainly non-game development staff, which makes sense because the West office is probably not doing the bulk of the development. I'd imagine that would be in Korea. So I wonder what that 20% was doing. Was it like translators? Was it marketing people, distributors, retailers? We don't know, but it is odd. Um, and there might be a connection. This is speculation. There's no evidence for this, but there might be a connection with them kind of pivoting their monetization thing to more to that battle pass stuff we were talking about, and then laying off a shit ton of people in the West. But what I'm saying this more to like kind of drive home the point that we don't know why this happened, but with the evidence that we do have, there's kind of a hypothesis that we can form. But ultimately, at this moment, we just have no fucking idea. It is weird that the CEO stepped down, though. That's definitely weird. Because he's the guy in charge of it all, which means he was probably taking the Western office in a direction that the headquarters guys didn't like.
I can see that. The reason I see that is because and they've turned pay to win and they failed.
I
So
was right.
And-
I was right.
and not just like moments later, if you check in it says right here they open job position.
Oh yeah, for the final testers and so there are job openings for final testers, MMORPG, MMORPG English Communication and Operations Officer, English Communication Officer, and Traditional Chinese Communication Officer. That sounds to me like translators.
Yeah.
Like the guy in charge of translating and making sure that you don't accidentally say something that would offend like Chinese culture. But that happens. Sometimes a company will fuck up a translation and it's actually something horrible. I think KFC did it when they branched out into China when their slogan "finger licking good" got translated as "we'll lick your fingers off."
What was
Oh, yeah.
interesting
Welcome to
about
America.
this is that a lot of people were speculating that because of this job opening or whatever, it was gonna bring a delay to the game.
It might. It actually might, because they were saying in the video that monetization was why they delayed the game. Because in the video, the spokesperson, she was saying like, yeah, we're delaying the game because we want to make sure that we launch to the global market in cooperation with the right people, and that we have the correct monetization strategy going forward. And if what you're saying about NCSoft West is correct, the people there and our boy Jeff were not going to do that. So they just got rid of him. And it seems now they're bringing in new blood, actually do what they feel is the correct move.
Yeah, because being the English Communication Operations Officer. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's under TL, so that's for Throne and Liberty.
Yeah. That is specifically for Throne and Liberty too.
Yeah, because they're trying to bring for the English and for traditional Chinese.
Communication and operation, which to me sounds like, I said earlier like translators and stuff, but also sounds like they're going to be the people who oversee production and operations of the game ongoing, not just for like the release right now, but also just, continuously. What's your take on this all, Nico? With them laying people off and monetization and Western gamers being Western gamers.
Well, first of all, it's not a Western game. So
Right.
already, I don't want to say we're at a disadvantage, but it's going to be different from what we're used to out here in the West.
That's true.
Although we've had like few games blow the fuck up or super good. Maybe they're doing it to put more resources towards something else to help make the game better in general. I think it's too far up for speculation for it to be concerning or helping. I just say it right now. It's something to be wary of,
Yeah.
and just keep that in the back of your mind while we continue trudging through this bullshit.
I guess it is a good thing that this is the reason the game is being delayed. And that they're hiring like communications and operations people and not like game developers.
Yeah,
Because if they were like, oh, we just laid off 20% of our development staff and we're replacing them with all new people, I'd be very concerned, a lot more worried than anything with monetization would be, because that would probably mean the game is just gonna flop because it doesn't work. But that's not the case. So I think this is a pretty. I think they're just being very careful.
that's good. They seem to really care about their game, and they seem to be taking the proper precautions to make sure it does a good job. So I give them props.
Yeah, they did say, how regarding how this impacts future and current development on titles, our game will continue to operate as they have been, and Throne and Liberty continues towards its global launch and is not impacted by this event. They have
Well, there you
put that
go.
statement, so I'll take it.
That's pretty direct,
As displayed on their map for Throne and Liberty, map is huge. So
Yeah.
it is good to know that they will be working on this game. It won't be like a 1 year or 2 year thing.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
good.
so I'm glad.
Longevity is good for games.
Official website for Korea that they're doing a final test over there. And it's going to be an in-person test.
Oh.
So the application period is the January 26th, Thursday to February the 12th on Sunday. They're going to be doing winner announcements on February the 14th day. And where they're going to be hosting the NCSoft R&D Center Pangyo. Okay, so here it says the main character of the world is the player. We have walked the past path by watching, listening, and thinking so that more people can enjoy it. One last step towards the world. And here we have this is where we are now, the final test.
Let's go.
Final test, I invite you. Application period, yeah, we already talked winners will be individually play, and over here I translated it. It says that they're gonna. So basically, this is what the testers are gonna play right here. They're gonna be playing the tutorial codex play, meaning the story, I guess a little bit of it, local events, and the raid system. That's what they're gonna be trying out.
Neat. I wonder what they aren't. Because I didn't see any mention of PvP in there. I mean, if they don't have enough people from the public to do those big team battles like the sieges that we saw, I mean, there wouldn't really be much point in testing it. I'm guessing they probably already covered all that in the internal test. That was probably already set and figured out. Now they're just focusing on like the new player experience, which is the intro area, first part of the story, and some raids and stuff to make sure that like the average player of the game can figure all that out and doesn't get lost.
And the 2 days that they test gonna be February 21st, the 22nd. Each test will be 5 hours long, and I'm kind of curious about that. If that's even enough for an MMO.
The new player experience is crucial. If you can't keep players through the first like 5 or 10 hours, which is what they're planning out here, if you can't retain players in that like crucial first window, you just won't have a player base. So I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make sure that the first 5 to 10 hours are as good as they can be, so that people don't just leave before they actually get into the weeds of the game. Because I also, you're mentioning with like max level characters and everything, they're probably going to be changing a bunch of stuff at like the higher power levels of the game. Because like at a certain point, everybody or a very large portion of the people that play the game reaches max level. They become as powerful as they can reasonably be. So then they have to make new content to sort of add on to that for that player base to actually like explore. I think they're probably not going to worry about that too much for right now, just because they already know they're going to have to change max level stuff in the future. So making it like perfect and ironclad right now isn't really going to help them in the long run. So I think it's going to be more new player stuff and the beginning of the game to make sure that stuff works. Yeah, because we've seen MMOs that have really bad early game stuff. Like Bless. Oh, I remember that. I remember that. Do you remember that?
I can't give back my hours.
You remember that, Nico?
Yeah.
It wasn't like there were certain parts of it that were cool, but fuck, dude. Like the first like 10 hours of that game were just the worst. The rest of it wasn't any better, but like just getting started felt so bad.
I remember us just staying at the same spot.
Yeah.
Whether it got so
5 hours,
Yeah.
and I'm barely level up once.
Yeah. How many times have we killed the fucking King of Wolves and gotten the same boss loot, this dumb pair of pants, like 30 times? Oh fuck. Yeah, I because of that, I'm willing to bet they're really making sure new players feel good when playing the game at the start. Because that's what matters. Especially like on release day, that's what matters. That's what the public is going to see.
Because at least this game, it looks like they actually have content.
Yeah. There's actually stuff to do in this game. There's an actual game to play. Oh god.
we're already off to a good start.
Them releasing the game is so soon from now. What could they really change about the new player experience? Like, I remember when RuneScape, they completely overhauled their new player experience, like several years ago, when they made RuneScape 3. Like, they completely changed the whole thing. The tutorial was totally different than when I played it when I was a kid. So, but like that must have took a lot of time and a lot of effort from the RuneScape devs at Jagex. So, like with them trying to release in a couple months, could they fix it if something was really that wrong, or would they, or maybe should we be preparing for another delay announcement if they find some glaring issue that they need more time to fix? I think if there was a problem like that, they would probably delay it to fix it, given that they've delayed it over like marketing shit and monetization things. I think if they found an issue in the tutorial, they would definitely delay the game to fix it.
And apparently, all the final testers will be compensated for testing. They will be getting an RTX 3060.
The graphics card is cool. Direct compensation would be better. I get why they're doing the graphics card thing, though, because the only people that would want to do this are PC gaming nerds. I get it. It's cool. I like it. Direct compensation is better from a labor standpoint. We're not going to get into that. This is cool. This is good. This is not, from what I can see, abusive toward the fan base, which is good. I like that they're doing this, because oftentimes within the West with developers like we'll bring in Bless again. When they did the beta test, it was just you did the beta test and you got to be a part of the beta test. That's your reward. Point is, NCSoft is doing a good thing here. Props to them.
But we have an announcement.
Oh,
We do?
we do?
In a few upcoming weeks, we're gonna be covering the lore of Throne and Liberty. Stay tuned for that, boys, because that's gonna be real good. Gonna have Brother
You're gonna
Neeks.
hear us talk about stories. We're gonna read you a bedtime story.
We're
on
gonna
YouTube.
bullshit you until you've been bullshitted. But it'll be
Hey,
entertaining
40-year-old
bullshit.
man who's trying not to get divorced. You know what you could do with your children to make them love you and call you dad? And what you could do is when we release our lore videos, use it as a bedtime story for your children.
Then, hey, Roger, give me a book.
Hey, yeah, Roger. Hey, Steve. Steve. I know you're listening. I know your name is Steve. Don't ask me. Don't ask how I know. Don't ask questions you don't want answers to, Steve. Now, Steve, listen closely. You're going to want to do, right, when you tuck your kids into bed, you tell them, hey, I want to tell you a story real quick. And I brought in some 3 friends, my brothers, from all around the country to help put you to sleep. And then you click play on our video and listen to 3 20-year-old men talk bullshit for an hour.
I don't know what the fuck I would put. Leave a like and subscribe and comment down in the video if you think I should start my own YouTube channel.
There you go.
That's what it is.
Leave a comment telling Nico to start being an influencer on social media. We are so off topic. Jesus
We are
Christ.
so off topic, but maybe this is what people want. Maybe they want the off topic.
Is this what you like, Steve? Is this the content that you subscribe for? I hope so.
You feeling it
getting
now,
much else.
Mr. Krabs? Can you feel this, Mr. Steve?
This is the kind of shit that's going to keep your children in college.
Are you picking up what we're putting down, motherfucker?
Like and subscribe, and
Don't say your sister.
What were our orders to our 40-year-old audience? Call your children, take your wife out for dinner. If you own a company that you want us to advertise, send us money and we'll do it. Whatever it is. We don't care. We don't have morals.
Even you fucking subscribers.
Make a second Google account just to subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Yeah, tell your teachers.
Anyways, brothers and sisters of the crib, we are out. Peace.